Mysterious crop circles have kept scientists busy for several centuries. People first noticed this unusual phenomenon in 1503, when strange patterns appeared on bread fields in Holland. But the boom of interest came in the 87 years, when some 500 circles were recorded in wheat fields in England. What were they? A natural phenomenon or the work of man? We will consider the main versions of the origin of this phenomenon and try to find out who and why leaves agroglyphs on the sown lands. More than 90% of all known circles appeared in England. The remaining 10% were found all over the world. There was even a special science of studying circles, seriology. The first scientific article on the subject appeared in Nature on the 29th of July 1880. In it, scientist John Rand Capron reports a strange phenomenon in the south of England. The wheat sprouts in the field were badly wrinkled, but not completely, only in places. From afar they looked like perfectly round spots. I could not find any clear explanation for the correct geometric shape of these patches. I could only assume that some strange vortex had worked here. The real excitement around the circles began to rise in the late 80s of the 20th century. Tourists from all over the world began to come to England to admire the mysterious finds. Most of the patterns in the fields share common characteristics. Round shape. Until the late 1970s, the circles were simply circles, and the serials always remained clockwise. Since 1986, there has been an increase in the complexity of the shape. Outer rings, elements of non-circular geometric shapes and stems arranged anti-clockwise appear. Under the cover of night, farmers or ordinary passers-by always notice it only in the morning, when the drawing is finished and the artists are gone. Never once caught on security cameras. Surprisingly, the creation of the circles was never recorded by anyone. Apparently, those who did it knew very well how to avoid publicity. Almost all patterns appear near roads and highways, hence the quick detection, after 1 or 2 days. Let's put aside the ideas of fans of anomalous phenomena, such as the intervention of higher powers and UFOs. Let's break down the possible natural causes and find out what science thinks about it. One of the popular and well-founded scientific theories was the wind theory. The swirling currents capture the air and pull it towards the ground, thereby crushing the ears. Microtornadoes are particularly common in the UK, so most of the circles are located there. Dr. Terence Medden believes that the energy of such vortices moves in spirals, mowing the ears in even circles. However, the question of perfect symmetry is still open. Archaeologists explain the complexity of the geometry of some circles. In their opinion, some of them are traces of ancient settlements and burial grounds. Time of appearance of the buildings, Iron Age and Roman period. In places where the ancient foundations have been preserved, the soil layer is very thin, so cereals do not grow well here and soon dry out. Thus, areas appear on the field that repeat the outlines of ancient buildings. It takes a long hot weather for this to happen. Such a cause accounts for no more than 5% of all cases. Sometimes gaps in the surface of sown fields are caused by insects. Termites eat the roots of plants to find their way underground. However, American biologists are skeptical about this hypothesis. They believe that the circles are too regular, and the elements are removed at equal distances. It is unlikely that termites can do this. Perhaps they are responsible for a few cases, but most of the paintings are not created by them. Don Scott, a researcher from California, used an infrared vision device to watch Rye fall and form a circle. When the image was enlarged, it turned out that this is done by laboring ants. According to Scott's theory, the insects are forced to go round and round by the Earth's magnetic field. Ants, unlike tornadoes, are found on all continents, so the version is quite plausible. This is perhaps the most common reason. In 1991, 2 British men claimed to have been making crop patterns for decades. Many people were inspired by their example. Now there are groups of artists all over the world defacing sown land with strange patterns. Researchers say that, among all the finds, only 9% are genuine, the rest are just beautiful fakes. The real circles do not have a complex shape and meaningful load. Most likely, it is a side effect of some external factors. In man-made circles, the plant stems are always broken in the original, they are only bent and continue to grow at an angle. The phenomenon of authentic circles is still not fully understood. These are by no means all, but some of the most likely theories for the origin of crop circles. And while scientists argue, farmers and cultivators despair. The price field owners pay for the fantasies of unknown artists is ruined crops and huge losses.